so we earn over 900,000 per year in dividends, and we're going to talk about how to increase this number with gold and silver. There's currently a bull market underway in commodities, and I want dividends, of course. I want my gold and silver exposure. I want growth from gold and silver, but I also want my dividends, okay? My dividends of over 900,000 per year. While we're getting the outperformance, we're up 3.5% for the year. I know many members in my chat are up more than that, okay? Like I see Justin, for example, in the chat now, and I know Christina here is up more than me. And I'm going to also discuss why I'm not up as much as members. My parents are even beating me, okay? My mom and dad, and my dad uses less margin than me, and he's up about 5% for the year. The S&P is up only 1%. In comparison, okay, the NASDAQ is down for the year. So we're getting all these dividends. We got days gains. We usually get days gains that outperform the market. You know, we're at 0.24 and the Dow is down 0.58, for example. So we're getting these gains and dividends with this technique that I use with margin and high yield dividend paying funds. If you need help getting this kind of outperformance and living free from a 9-to-5, email me for my e-guides at akintodd48@gmail.com or head to my website, Unconventional Wealth Ideas. Okay, we started the FIRE movement here at my channel. No one else was talking about margin. And so then I got all these questions about what I do, you know, and so we eventually wrote all these guides, okay, all dictated by demand. All right, and so you can see all about my e-guides here and more about me, okay, and my wonderful community. All right, we have over 3,000 members in our Discord community, and you get Discord, of course, when you buy my e-guides. Discord's free for life. So you also get my number for life if that's important to y'all. So we're up 6,500 on Friday, and we want more gold and silver exposure, okay? And my chat is open, okay, to not only my members, but to just anyone else who has ideas on silver and gold, okay? We would all love to hear your ideas. We've already talked about these themes before, but I wanted to share with you a new way to play gold and silver that I think is, you know, apropos to my strategy, okay? Because I like high yield dividends, all right? And so the first thing that, you know, a lot of members would recommend, members, you know, viewers out there, y'all would all say that something like a Silvo is one good play, okay? Silvo, all right? So it has a dividend, it has a nice yield. This says 23% at E-Trade, but my issue with Silvo is that it's 100% maintenance, all right? And so that's why I've been kind of small. I've been small in metals because Silvo, for example, again, is 100% maintenance, and metals are small in the indexes, so you have to keep this in mind. I want to chase metals performance, but they're small in the indexes. And remember, you know, metals don't save you in a down market, okay? Go look at 2008. And so I like things like Silvo. Silvo's done well. Look at this one-year chart of Silvo. It's gone up from 73 to 100, and it has a 24% yield. So what's not to like about Silvo? Well, again, the maintenance. If you were to put too much in this, you would not only lose your index performance somewhat because, again, metals are small in the indexes, but you would suck up all of your equity. If you need help understanding maintenance, see my Volume 3 e-guide. So if we want to keep living the FIRE lifestyle here, which means financially independent, retire early, we're going to have to find some names in here that are 50% maintenance, at least 50% maintenance. If we can find some 30% maintenance names, chat, again, please let me know. Y'all know that I do like some gold plays from Yieldmax, okay? So our available draw is high. We have over 700, we have almost 700,000 available draw, which means on our $2 million account size, we can withstand over 20% corrections. We can withdraw and pay bills. All of my bills are automated to my E-Trade account. And so this is high due to my lower maintenance names, okay? And so Silvo 100% maintenance, we have 500,000 now of margin debt, and 526, and my dividends of over 1 million, of around 1 million, pay this back in less than a year. So, you know, not worried about the leverage because this is coming down fast. I told you I've been trying to lower my margin, limit my activity some. We've been picking away, all my members know, we've been picking away at, you know, top index plays that have really been doing well, especially over the last week, okay? We got to get our performance somehow. And so we're still picking away, okay, at all these, you know, top index plays, but I'm keeping my margin small for the most part. because again, the market's at the highs. And so I'm not worried about the leverage, but I'm always worried about my available withdrawal. Okay, I'm always trying to keep this high to ensure my fire lifestyle. Okay, I don't want to ever go back to a 9 to 5, or at least if I have a 9 to 5, I want to make sure that I have enough available withdrawal so that I can supercharge my account with my 9 to 5. Okay, you need to have this high so that you can have more flexibility to do the things that I like to do, like buy on margin or sell options, which we'll talk about in 1 minute, because that's one of my ideas with silver. It's through options. So Silvo, we're gonna have to go find something else. Now, Silvo has been doing great, but I just alluded to Yieldmax and gold plays with Yieldmax, and that is GDXY. That's also been doing well for us. I mean, GDXY was doing well last year. I mean, look at this move it had. And so it's showing minimal erosion, and it has a nice yield, usually around like a 30% yield, GDXY. And so I own GDXY. I've owned it for many, almost like a year or two now. Okay, so for many months, and it gives me a nice dividend, and it has 50% maintenance. And so that's the thing about GDXY that I like. Okay, it's gold miners, so gold miners are a little more volatile, and again, it's going to give you a nice yield. Okay, 50% maintenance as well. All right, now keep in mind that when you're investing with gold, again, I've already said that it's 5% or so of the indexes, gold and metals, 3 to 5% basic materials. So I always want to go with the indexes. That's why I stay in things like Cornerstone, like we already talked about SPYI, QQQI, but I mean, I go smaller in those than I do Cornerstone because Cornerstone has the bigger yield, the 20% yield. Plus Cornerstone, I mean, it's 4-star, okay? CRF is 3-star now, and CLM's 4-star. CRF was 5-star, so I don't really look at the stars that much, but that just shows you that the world values something that moves sideways on a chart. It looks like it's bad on a chart at E-Trade or Y charts or Yahoo, but you see here on the Morningstar chart, it moves upward, left, or right. The same goes for GDXY and Yieldmax, okay? If we were to go look at a chart of GDXY, it would look much different than the chart we see at E-Trade, because after you factor back in dividends, GDXY, I'm sure, is much higher, okay? So let's just go look at that, for example. GDXY. Again, it doesn't matter what this is doing because it matters what the index is doing. But look at this. The investment NAV has shot up. This is a straight up chart, okay? Whereas at E-Trade, you see it's straight up, but it's not looking like the Morningstar chart. Morningstar hit new highs. This is hitting old highs, GDXY. Morningstar for GDXY has hit new highs here. So you have to understand how to factor back in dividends. And again, that's what Cornerstone taught me. That was the original high yield dividend paying fund that gives you a 20% dividend while being indexed, because you could put all your money in something like a Cornerstone, something that's indexed. Okay, I don't put all my money in Cornerstone. I spread it around, but I put Cornerstone's one of my top 5 holdings because it's indexed, and it's the only fund out there that gives you this 23% drip at the NAV, okay? 23%, so you get that every month on top of the 20% dividend. Cornerstone, CLM, gives you a 24.6% gain every month on top of your 20% dividend that you get for the year. So this is why we grow so fast, my members and I know if you go to Discord, you'll see that most members here, just love Cornerstone, okay? That's why we keep Cornerstone, these 2 channels for Cornerstone to discuss. Cornerstone, we have a Cornerstone discussion channel, and we have a Cornerstone RO discussion channel. And, this is always super active, okay? We have over 3,000 members here, okay? And we see Bobby here, is about to say something, and I hope all is well, Bobby. But, we have all these other channels here, too, for your enjoyment, okay? Those have all been slowed down so that you can preserve the information, how to get loans, how to do other things to get ahead here at Discord, all right, how to use options, whatever, okay? All these other funds, we have coverage on them, but we slow those down. We keep Cornerstone active because that's the one that you want to be active in, all right? Because Cornerstone, you try not to be active. You try to be passive with all these dividends and the indexing, but with Cornerstone, you play it around the rights offering, okay? Here's the high of Cornerstone, here's the low, okay? We got the alert on Cornerstone right here at these highs, okay? So the Cornerstone rights offering announcement, the N2 filing, literally came in right there at those highs. See this date right here for the N2 filing that we got, okay? It was really cool, okay? And so, that helped us save a lot of money. We sold out at the highs. We bought at the lows. Okay. If you want to know how to buy Cornerstone, and time it around the premium levels, see my volume 4 e-guide. All right. Cornerstone is one of the first things that I use to get invested and, with margin. Okay. I've been investing for 20 years, but with Cornerstone, I've been investing in it since 2020. And that's how I got my account up so much. Okay. Cornerstone, which we talk about in volume 4, and then the triple C's, which is how I get the most growth in my account, and that's in volume 7. All right, so Cornerstone, that was the whole key, but now we've expanded our dividend holdings to things like Yieldmax, okay? Things like Roundhill, other funds that have especially metals exposure now, okay? Metals being the hot topic lately. All right, so Cornerstone's the first way to do it, and we have GDXY. All right, but also, keep in mind that we have other dividend funds that I'm going to discuss. Okay, I have about 5 points that I want y'all to consider. Okay, 5 points, 5 ideas as to why metals are moving so hard, and I'm going to try to give you 5 plays on them. Okay, so I just gave you 2 plays, Silvo and GDXY. Here's another one, which is you can sell options. Okay, on silver, and I haven't done this play yet because I've been using all these other vehicles for silver and gold, trying to get my dividends. But I used to sell puts on AGQ, all right? And that used to give me great income. And we're going to go over that with my members, on Monday. I'm going to start selling a fresh round of puts on AGQ, and we're going to really stock silver through the options. As you can see, I use the options. I use the volatility from something like a BidX or an AGQ to get more income. All right, I sell the options, which is safer than buying silver itself or buying Bitcoin, as you can see here with BidX. Like with BidX, for example, you see we have a 28 share price paid. That's what we sold the option for, but we got, our strike price is 50, as you can see here, but we got $28 for selling the put on BidX. So, that puts our cost basis considerably lower than the market, okay? 50 minus 28, you do the math. All right, and so there's a way that you do these options. There's a way that you can sell them, lower your margin, lower your volatility as well, okay? And then just make money slowly over time, okay? You just sell the option, and again, your cost basis is lower than everyone else's. And you can do it with high volatility vehicles like silver, like Bitcoin, okay? And so we're going to discuss that this Monday, all right? You can see how I sell options in my volume 6 or in my members' videos, of course. And we're going to go over it on Teams and everything. So don't forget that you can sell options on AGQ, all right? Now, AGQ's had a huge run, okay? And AGQ is, one of my favorite silver vehicles. But again, we'll get more into how I'm playing AGQ because it's had such a big run, okay? So look out for stay tuned for how we do the options with AGQ on Monday. Tomorrow. So another thing you can do is just buy Ulti outright, because Ulti has a lot of gold and metals exposure now. Okay, Ulti has been holding our portfolio up because Ulti has now new holdings within that are not only indexed, but Ulti has a 70% yield, as you can see here. But it has metals, okay? It has a lot of metals. It has Van Eck gold miners right here. It has Southern copper, all right? It has SPDR, Spider Gold shares, all right? And you can look at the rest of the holdings if you want. I put them all up here on Circle, okay? Obviously, when you buy my e-guides, you get Discord free for life. But Discord's full of people. It's over 3,000 members are at Discord. And sorry if the signal is getting bad. There's a storm here, right? That crazy cold front is coming. But here at Circle, I've been posting all of my ideas, and Circle is the premium arm. Okay, if you go to Discord, you get my e-guides. Okay, you get them when you buy my bundles, gold or platinum bundle. You get Discord free for life, of course. But then you can go to my portfolio recap section here, and you can see my link to Circle, all right? And so Circle is my premium arm, okay? There's a free component at Circle. We have a frequently asked questions. I think members would actually really enjoy that. But then we have, obviously my trade alerts there at Circle and all that. And so trade alerts and, these top market bellwethers that I'm buying for the portfolio that have really increased our performance. Okay, and lately we've been looking into metals, and also we've been looking at small caps because the Russell's up 7.5%. My brokerage is up 3.5%. Again, many members are up considerably more. I wanted to also touch on that some. My parents are beating me, but why is that? It's because my dad, for example, he doesn't have a lot of margin. How is he beating me? Well, I use a lot of hedges, as you know. So I would say 100,000 of my debt is short. Okay, so that weighs on my performance. But also, for example, like my dad and Christina, they have a lot of Ulti or a lot of IWMY or something. And so that's what's getting their performance. Their performance is up 5% or so for the year, when I would say maybe half of their portfolio is in things like Ulti and IWMY. So that would be why they're up about 5% when the Russell's was up 10% this week. And so they have more small cap exposure, not so much metals exposure. But metals, small caps, I like to keep small, and metals, I like to keep small as well, as I've been alluding to. So I'm not going to chase metals. I'm not going to chase small caps, just to, chase the Russell. That's not really the benchmark to beat. Okay, the Russell's been struggling for years, and maybe now it's finally due. But nonetheless, you have a lot of small caps rallying, and you have a lot of gold and silver and even Bitcoin rallying. And a lot of that even says risk on in some cases. It's not a flight to safety gold because, again, in 2008, gold fell. All right, so gold has been going up for 5 reasons, okay? I have 5 quick reasons for you, and that's just simply, Caterpillar is a main miner of heavy metals, and they sell the equipment, and they've been saying that there's the super cycle for gold and silver and metals is in its early innings. You have the fact that these gold and metal plays are under-owned, okay? Under-owned because most people don't even have gold in their portfolio in a large way. So that suggests that there could be more room for an up market in gold. Also, you have the data center play, these data centers and the whole AI boom. It all demands these precious metals, okay? EVs, they demand lithium, stuff like that. All right, also you have this Bitcoin regime going on, okay? This Bitcoin regime of where you have gold versus silver. That's what we learned when we went to Costa Rica. You remember, they were saying these various countries in the world, they're competing with gold. Some countries are using gold as a store of value. Some countries are using Bitcoin. Some people don't trust gold. Some people don't trust Bitcoin. So there's a regime happening of two, gold regime versus Bitcoin regime. And so you're seeing a lot of action there. That could be another reason why, there's an increased demand for these metals plays and why they're moving higher and they have room to run higher. Okay. It's related to government, spending essentially and sovereign wealth. Okay. So that's going to continue most likely, because there's an inflation issue out there with fiat, currency. And so there's mistrust. So they're going to either gold or silver. All right. And then, or Bitcoin. And then also you just have the inflation issue. Like I just alluded to, we have inflation. So gold works for inflation. Inflation in the real world, like, at grocery stores, macro wise, inflation is low. GDP is high. This is a great backdrop for making money. Okay. In today's market. So I want to go ahead and open up the chat and see, what ideas members have, if they think there are better ways to play it. I know that we are also discussing Nuggy recently because it has high yield but low maintenance. But I think that you also want to get your growth, and that's why I kind of like AGQ because you can sell options on it, but you can also get massive growth with AGQ. All right, and why I haven't used it already, again, is because I've been in so many other funds, gold and silver funds. Last year, we had Bitcoin falling, okay, and Ulti was falling, so I didn't really have the capital reserves to, available to be buying more assets like AGQ that didn't pay a huge dividend, that wouldn't pay down my margin debt. I needed to get that down, and again, I need to get the margin down, and my account was falling somewhat. I mean, we still outperformed last year. We've been up 25% plus over the last 3 years. Every year since we've been here at YouTube, we've had 25, 30% plus gains, okay? And if you need help doing the same, again, email me from my e-guides at akintodd48@gmail.com or head to my website, Unconventional Wealth Ideas. All right, so again, I would love to hear what the community has to say about gold and silver, any other metals plays. My Mosaic, MOS, anything basic material related has been going crazy, okay? So, we have copper, you saw even Ulti held some copper. Hey, Justin, Jose, C. Martin, great to see you guys and gals. Owning it. Frank, love me some metals. It should be fun. Definitely. Metals are always fun, Got to do it within reason, in my opinion, owning it. But if you can find more ways to play it without the risk, while maintaining your equity, your available withdrawal, then I say more the merrier. Hey, Breadman. Hey, Titan. But again, within, reason, not, professionals indexing would show that basic materials are small, between 5 and 10%. And I just want to go with the indexes. That's how we ensure this margin, and that's how we live free out of our account using these dividends. What's up, Breadman? Hey, Titan. Hope you're liking those loan ideas over there at Circle, Breadman. And, all of my members, my 50 members, I give you all those loan ideas as well from our team sessions. And, I have another great idea to share with you, Breadman. I can't wait. That goes for all members, of course. I just know Breadman was particularly interested. Hey, Titan. Hey, Sam. Happy Sunday to you, Sam. Absolutely. Great to see the Fire fam, okay? I was telling my members on Friday, it's really hard for me to hang out and do anything with anyone else who's not focused on personal growth and greatness, okay? Excellence, all right? Who would not want to be pursuing, growth in all areas of their life? And in order to do that, you kind of have to have money to do it, or at least have a system of making money to do it. And if people don't know how you're doing, for example, they should know now, because if they love you, they would be watching the market, okay? Obviously, my friends and family should be watching my channel, and they don't even do that. But my members do, and that's why I'm so thankful for y'all. But that's how hard it is to invest. It's because, you go out into the world and you talk to people about it, and they don't have a clue as to what it takes to invest. They don't invest, and if they did invest, they hate the charts of Yieldmax. They don't look at a Morningstar chart and factor things back in, of course. But then, they just, if they're not asking you, how your portfolio is doing, they must not care. I feel like they don't care about me, okay, if they don't ask me how I'm doing there. But they shouldn't even need to ask. They should just watch the indexes, watch the news, and they're not even watching the market, okay? So how can they be my friend if they don't know that about me? And then why would I want to be their friend if they're not growing, okay? How else do you grow unless you invest, okay? Invest in stocks or real estate. And real estate, I think, is very difficult. And many of my members would agree. And so stocks and dividends are the way. Stocks, you can't do that because they lose 90% of the time. So you have to go with dividends, and then it works 7% per year, on average, 7 to 10%. So why wouldn't more friends do it? And then why wouldn't they use a little bit of margin to do that? Because all the greats use debt to get ahead, but margin's the safest way that I can think of because the interest rates are so low. Okay, and even if you haven't negotiated rates down like we have done, many of my members have, I text you the script. I'm going to get to platinum soon, still getting to the rest of my members, premium members here and circle members. Okay, even if you don't have your rates negotiated down to around below 5, in my case, you're still having an arbitrage opportunity with the interest that you were charged versus the dividends that we earn. So it's like a really risk-free way to make money. And so I just wanted to discuss that. I just wanted to lay that out there and say once again why I'm so proud to be with my community and my Fire fam. Okay, Sam, don't get me started again. But it is so important that you know this. That's how you're going to maintain your trajectory, okay, for growth. All right, is if you look around, look at the 5 people around you. Okay, look around, look at the 5 channels you watch on YouTube. Just look around, or whatever it is, where you get your information. And if it's not here, okay, or with members like us, then I'm not sure where you're going to get this, not only outperformance consistently over the years, but how you're going to actually live out of your brokerage account, like live away from a 9 to 5. So let's keep it going, Sam. Okay, it's great to see you, Sam. Hey, Silver, ready for football as you? Yep. When the Texans got knocked out, it made me sad, Silver. Hey, Dan, any update for platinum members getting the margin negotiating script? No, Dan, but you should get a script because you are a member, okay? You are a YouTube member, all right? So if you are a YouTube member because you have a badge by your name, then just text me, okay? It doesn't. At first, I was getting to the 50s and the 35s. Now I'm able to get to all members, Dan, okay? Then I will get to platinum after that. Okay, and every time I do a video, I get inundated, of course. So platinum members, please be patient. See, we still have members to get to, obviously, as you can see. Hey, Seagal, so great to see you. Can't wait to see all my members on team soon. All right, SL GDXY since inception has been great. I know. You've been in Silvo since 2023. Yep, Silvo's also a good candidate. Okay, thank you, Miss Light, for the suggestion. KSLV and KGLD are 25% maintenance on Robinhood. Great recommendations. Yeah, we know Robinhood has lower maintenance, and we've been in the KSLVs before and stuff. I had to consolidate, but K Gold, that's a good idea. And obviously, Robinhood has the low maintenance, but they just had other drawbacks for me, like not having Cornerstone. But now they have Cornerstone, Miss Light, so that's good to know. They just don't have the special drip and nav, I believe, but please double check. All right, and it's all about that. Even if you don't have the drip and nav, it's really important because you're getting 24% gains every month. But either way, you still have Cornerstone there, which is great, and low maintenance for KSLV and K Gold. Okay, thanks for that idea, Miss Light. Okay, Silver Liner, you own a little bit of BINC, but not a high payer. Okay, all right, yeah, I love dividends. And AGQ doesn't have that. That's why I don't have as much AGQ or have been reluctant to buy it recently. But there are many ways to play it. All right, and again, I can't wait to share it. We already talked about some on selling the options. You have iGold, John Boy. Okay, thank you, John Boy. Hey, RH, so good to see you. SL, I do like BINC because of the low expense fee. Okay. I don't follow expense fees as much. I only watch the maintenance, but that is certainly good to know. It never hurts to have low expense, management fees and stuff. Hey, Daves. Good to see you, Daves. David Daves. It threw me off guard. Sorry. Great to see you, David. Silver, SBSW used to pay well, but not anymore. Yeah, and just speaking of other names, ALB, Albert, I don't know how you say that, Alba Murray, I don't know how you say that, but I have most of the metals plays in the indexes. Obviously, Newmont, NEM is the largest metals play, and that's been on fire. Obviously, BHP, Rio, nice dividends, BHP and Rio. Okay, these are just the ideas. These are just some of the things I own in my account. You can see my account at any time on my wall on YouTube. Just go to memberships and you can see my portfolio there. The 35 members get a weekly video. The monthly at 10 get a monthly video. And then the 50 members get all videos, all updates, all live market updates, plus they get the teams replays, okay, from Circle. SL, another good one is IAUI. Yep, I agree, SL. Another great idea, SL. Thank you. And that's why I love these lives. My members are so active, and I always love hanging out with you, SL. Keith, K Gold and KSLV are 50% margin on E-Trade. Right. They seem to follow the underlying as well. I use IAU from Neos. Okay, Keith, thank you for that. Yeah, 50% margin maintenance. We could do better, but, at other brokers, but with us at E-Trade, that's all we can really settle for. Right, Keith? And so AGQ, I think, is 100% maintenance. But when you sell the options, you get some back from the premiums. Yeah, great to see you, RH. Okay, really. All right, I hope you're having a warm weekend. All right, bundling up. Okay. I guess most of the country is seeing snow, but we have members from all over the world here. SL, Ulti must have changed their holdings. Yes, they do frequently, SL. And, and they definitely did, recently, okay, to get better performance. So that's good to know. All right, remember, Ulti, they hedge all their, they used to hedge all their holdings. So keep that in mind. That's also what's been keeping us, our performance up, okay? And we're hanging in there with, we were, hanging in with the Russell, but the Russell has really taken off, okay? And so Ulti, it protects its positions, just like, they protect their positions. We protect all of our positions as well, just for whatever that's worth. All right, you can see how I hedge anytime. Okay, there are some ways to hedge metals. Like you can buy, Nugget, okay, NUGT, which was, we're up, I think, over 100%. NUGT, members know I have that holding. And then you can buy Dust, I think it's Dust, DUST, I forget, but please correct me if I'm wrong. And that's how you can hedge metals. You can see how I hedge everything in volume 5, especially how I use options, okay? You can see the precedent for how I hedge things in volume 5. Owning it. Is there a way for smaller account holders to level up with credit spreads? That would probably be help a bunch of people. Thanks, Owning it. Credit spreads, maybe. I used to do that, but they're more fancy for me. The best way for me to level up is through loans. I use that SBA loan in 2020. And, there are so many other loans you could pursue. They're all there on Discord if you want to check that out. Owning it. I don't know if you've seen that, but we have a loan channel there for retiring early. Okay, check that out. I froze that so that you could go back and see all that stuff. I try to stay active with Discord as much as I can, like on the Cornerstone channel, but my comments just get swallowed up. It's hard to even, people want to know my thoughts on Cornerstone, and I've been saying it, and it's lost up there, okay, with everything else. And so you can see all of my thoughts, of course, on Circle. Okay, that's my, that's the private chat. Okay, where you can see my thoughts and my trade alerts and stuff like that. Cornerstone. It's really important that we keep that channel active because I know members really like that investment. But the rest of the channels there are slowed because or just read only now so that we can preserve the information on loans, especially loans, and the information on brokers, who has the best maintenance, who can do the drip at NAV for Cornerstone, all that stuff, needs to be preserved. Okay. Jake, good afternoon to you, Jake. Good to see you. Justin, Ulti and Salty, they did both, right? Okay, yeah, they changed their holdings. Okay, where was I? I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay. Mayor, anyone is window dressing with metals plays all of a sudden? This started in May. Those YouTubers didn't mention those once until recently. Yeah, Mayor, I mean, we've been in gold and silver for quite some time, we've been in GDXY for a long time. I've mentioned it quite a bit in the past, GDXY. But, for me, I just don't mention it too much because metals, again, are smaller. I bet you I get small views on this video because metals and gold are for all the fear mongers out there. And so my video will rank, low because we have so many bigger channels just fear mongering the gold bugs, always saying to buy gold. So I don't like to cover it much, but we have before, Mayor. Ancient, you're at 10% in gold and silver. Owning it. Currency debasement is another factor. Right, currency debasement, that fiat issue, we're saying owning it. And so we have that regime happening, the two regimes fighting, which Quantified Chaos, love to, that's how they phrased it. And, that's the conference we're at in Costa Rica. That's one of the big pearls, that they gave and the way that they broke that down. And they have a good fun, Of course, y'all can't forget BTGD, I think is theirs. I think that's Bitcoin and gold. So I don't get paid or paid to promote for them or anything. I'm very careful. I had to sign a bunch of waivers for them, so I'm not sure what I can even say or can't say, but I get paid by no one, and I just wanted to throw that one out there, okay? BTGD. The only reason why I don't have it, I think, is because it's 100% maintenance last time I checked. But definitely owning it, that is an issue. John Boy, gold and silver are good, but AI tech is booming in selling puts. Yeah, John Boy, I agree. There's bigger fish to fry when it comes to other things, especially some of these Mag 10 names recently. You need to create the Nuggy dance, Justin. Yeah, Nuggy has been doing well for us since we started that. I remember I saw I was up about 3% in that, and that one's going to have higher erosion, I would think, because it has a bigger yield. So it's good to see the gains holding there. CopX, Jake, you have that for copper. Okay, great ETF. Yes, okay. Great idea. Thank you for that, Jake. I have FCX for copper, and obviously Ulti has some copper. So CopX, great idea. All right, thank you for that, Jake. Keep these ideas coming, everyone. Justin, teach me how to nugget. Yeah, if only if only, you know, I had, you know, such style, you know, but, yeah, you know, Nuggy and the Dougie, you know, all fun times, you know. Jeff Nix posting direct contact information here because no emails have been returned. Sorry, Jeff Nix. If you email me, just, you know, maybe it's at spam, of course. I always get back to my members. So just email me one more time, Jeff Nix, okay? As you can see, we have over 3,000 members here, all right? And try to email me or, you know, reach out in my comment section on YouTube afterwards, okay? But again, you know, just try again, okay? And I'll try to look for your email now, Jeff. SL, also, you can just go to my website, okay? SL, when someone gave me a nuggie, a little noogie, you got pissed. Yeah. Always hated the noogies. Yeah, my brother used to give me those all the time, okay? Yeah, never enjoyed that. Breadman, yes, sir. The Grateful Trader, up 10% year to date right now. Growth and income. Way to go, Grateful Trader. All right, that's excellent. All right, Storm Shadow, boom. And let us know how you did that, Grateful Trader. We're all ears. Storm Shadow, boom, made it into the live chat, new beer. Because it's really hard to get my kind of outperformance. You know, I always say to members, it's really hard. I've been investing for 20 years. It's so difficult, you know, like to beat the indexes consistently over time. You know, I could always go all in on margin or go all in on, let's say, you know, some metals plays, you know, and do that. But then I would get burned in a down year. And so to stay the, you know, the course and beat the indexes consistently year after year, I use this approach, you know. But let us know, Grateful Trader, please. Okay. Storm Shadow, boom, made it in the live chat. Well, okay, sorry, we just read that. Jake, you're so right. This is fun, consuming. Love to hear new ideas. Yeah, of course, Jake. Yeah, me too. Okay, I'm a student of the game. All right, and I'm a junkie for this stuff, honestly. And all the information I can take in, you know, the more the merrier. Once again, David, is there an investment ETF that's low enough price that has good option premiums, large amounts of calls? Yeah, I mean, you know, I know AGQ is high in price, you know, so that's why I want to share with you those ideas on how, I mean, you could see those in volume 6, like how I use the strikes, you know, even strikes that are deep in the money or out of the money, and they can work both ways. Yeah, you know, it's hard because they've had such a great run, haven't they, Dave? You know, to find a small share price right now is hard, but you can still use the small strikes when you're selling the options, if that makes sense. Again, we'll go over that in our members only, you know, sometime this week. Dylan, are you guys buying any international ETFs? Well, we had some international, Dylan. You know, we had South Korea and Europe, and those did really well for us. And I had to lighten up on them because, you know, obviously we have China and we have Brazil and, you know, through Vale, you know, for metals, once again, metals, Vale. And, you know, again, I think the videos that we have here are important, but the Q&A is so important, okay? They make the videos go a little long, but these are all gems. Valley's up over 100% for me recently, or at least 50%. I forget. I lose track. All these metals plays are up between 50 and 100% for us, and it gives us some international exposure as well. Hope that helps, Dylan. Yeah, to sell large amounts of calls. Right. But to sell the calls, you have to own large amounts, and that's what could take you down, Dave. All right, and so some people who are getting extra growth right now, they're either overweight, I would imagine, in something like a tech or high growth and mega growth or metals, okay? Really hard to sustain that over time, okay? Sam, hey, Todd, off topic, but I was wondering if you're using banks or banking out of E-Trade. I use both, Sam. I bank out of E-Trade, of course, and you can get loans that way, which we discussed some in our teams. And also I use other banks, you know, of course. SL, a little bit of margin is good when the market takes a dip. Absolutely. Outside of GDXY, I'm open to other funds. Yes. Major, joining late. Amir, you're welcome. SL. Team Todd for the win. Thank you, SL. Robinhood does have special drip with Robinhood now. It lists the NAV price on the ticker. Hey, that is great news, Ricky. All right, so Ricky's saying that you can now drip Cornerstone at the NAV. Okay, if that is possible, then that's a game changer, okay? Because you get low maintenance at Robinhood. And if something were to go wrong in my account, I would transfer it all to Robinhood. Well, it depends. I mean, also you get the banking out of E-Trade, which is important, all the, the checking account features. But I hear Robinhood's increasing those features as well, okay? Let me know about that, Ricky. Todd, can you have a mod call me to get the membership materials? Next, I'm not sure what you mean. If you go to your phone, or try a different browser from your phone or your computer, I hear that works better. So with like Discord, you use your phone to get in. With Circle, you use your computer, I think, for best results, just to log in. And then for YouTube memberships, you go to my wall, you go to the memberships, and see right here, you go to my wall here, and you see memberships. You scroll to the right, memberships, and that, try it from your desktop or a Chrome browser right here. I think Chrome works well. So, sorry, I'm not very technologically advanced. Okay. What about GDUX? Amir, I'm not sure. GDUX. What's the maintenance like on that? Okay, that could be interesting. Yep, owning it, SLJY, right? We have some SLJY, and that has 50% maintenance owning it. And so I like that play, 50% maintenance. Silvo has 100% maintenance, as you remember. Ricky, are you saying CLM has the drip at NAV now? Garage is asking. Okay, oh man, this chat's running pretty long. Breadman, yeah. What if we could use this margin to get a house next? What if our brokerage account could absorb a house with the dividends, with the margin? The rates aren't far apart. Rates that you're charged on a house right now versus margin rates. So we have more, definitely more to work on there, Breadman. Can't wait. Hey, Frosty Dog. Great to see you, Frosty. That's my admin, everyone. I don't know what I would have done at Discord without you, Frosty. Now it's much more easier to manage, isn't it? Since the other channels are either slow or read-only, and then the active channels are the strategies that we use, okay, that I use personally, okay, like Cornerstone, all right? And again, you could be fine and not do anything in Cornerstone and win over time, but you would get hurt in that rights offering or when you have premium dumps. So it's good to be able to understand how to play Cornerstone, and that one you need to be active in. But everything else, you don't really have to be active in, okay? If you're being overactive in the market, you have ants in your pants, you're probably going to lose over time. You need to stay invested, and you need to just be buying on dips. That's all I can say when it comes to that. Investing is pretty straightforward if you just keep it simple. Hello from the UK. Hey, Dylan. Yeah, see, we got members from all over the world, Hope all is well there, Dylan. Hope the weather is nice. Great to see you, by the way, Dylan. Owning it, ZSL for a silver hedge. Okay, nice. Good idea. Owning it. Got to have that component if we go heavier into AGQ. So great piece there, owning it. Solid. Way to go, owning it. That's what our community can really benefit from. All right, and then what was the nugget hedge, the inverse? That was, I think it was dust or whatever it was. Amir, apologize. GDXU. Okay, GDXU. GDXU. Well, let's just see the maintenance on it, and that to me, GDXU. Because if the chart is high, that means it probably has a lower dividend, but it's 3 times leverage. Okay, yeah, and so GDXU, that'll definitely give you, but it's micro sector, so I don't know if it has options, but that'll definitely give you the growth that you're looking for. Absolutely. We just need a dip, a dip before we go heavier into something like GDXU. All right. What's the best deal to sign up for Todd's courses? I would say. I'm just going to say, dang. I would just say platinum, obviously, because that gives you all the guides. And many members will buy gold, like volume. That gives you volumes 1 through 6 and my numbers still with Discord. But they don't get volume 7 unless they get platinum. And volume 7 is where all the action is, in my opinion. You could just buy volume 7, but you're not going to. You need the other guides to kind of, strengthen your foundation for margin and options and stuff like that. But in volume 7, that's how we get the most growth. So I would just say platinum. All right. And I always think that the bundle prices are way too low. And I've always raised prices over the years, and I'm going to continue to raise prices because I can't take the demand. And so, but that's just my opinion, Hue. I hope I'm saying your name right, Hue. Silver, I ordered some physical silver last weekend. It's up 10%, and you haven't gotten my silver yet. Yeah. Well, hopefully they mark that price for you, right, SL? Dan, thanks in advance, Todd. I just emailed you about a script in our email chain I have with you. Okay, I'll get that over to you right after this live, Dan. Okay, I hope you enjoy it. And if you have any issues with it for any reason, just call me, and there's ways to, to keep E-Trade or whoever your brokerage is accountable, all right? Thank you, Todd. We'll reach out via email. Of course, Nix. Anne-Marie, good afternoon, everyone. Just got home. My employer let me go early today at 1 due to the storm here in Massachusetts. Oh, yeah. Well, congrats. I'm glad you could make it home and you had some time to spend with me, Anne-Marie, and the rest of the community here. It's always good to see you. The Grateful Trader, you currently have 884 positions. Okay. All right. Well, tell us which ones you're heavily weighted in. All right. And then, because I have a lot of positions too, but most of those don't matter. The top positions are what matters. I have some aggressive members. Christina, my girlfriend, but she should be my wife. We've known each other for over 15 years. She has much more growth than me because she's using full margin, with Ulti. And so that's, why she's up, between 5 and 7. I haven't really asked her today, because our performance is updated this weekend. But, so share with us your top holdings, where the chunk of your performance is at, and that would help a lot. Okay. SL, I hope this gets a lot of views. This is a great informative live stream. I know SL, but it won't get views because, what this is a rare thing that we do here, and it takes, those who have eyes can see, those who have ears can, that's what they say in the Bible, and I think people look at the charts of Yieldmax and they get discouraged and they run away. I had so many people last year just quit on me. They're like, look, Ulti and all that stuff is not for me, but they're not factoring back in dividends, and they're getting swayed by the rest of the world. The rest of the world wants to go with linear investing to make money over time, like a Schwab D or something. And you can't actually live out of a Schwab D or a QQI, even though QQI is in my mom's account and it's doing great for her because she's more conservative, SPYI, all that. If we were to sell from those, we'd have to pay taxes. We'd lower her base of earnings, and you just can't sustain that. You can't get ahead like that. The only way to really get ahead is through my techniques. I mean, this is the way that I've honed it over the last 20 years. There's no other way to do it consistently and live out of your account and get the qualifying income, using your dividends to qualify for loans. Okay. You can get growth like I used to get with the triples and all that before, but they didn't give me qualifying income. All right. And that was the problem. That's why I had to switch to dividends. When I got my house, as I always say, to get a house when TJ was born, I had to switch to dividends. The bankers would not accept capital gains. So I agree, SL, but no one will watch as usual because gold and metal gets ranked lower, and you have to have a certain eye for this kind of stuff. You have to want to be great to watch my channel and to get ahead, because making money is not linear. Making money is that's the harder way to do it. That's the hard way to do it and the tax inefficient way to do it, in my opinion. Yeah, Anne-Marie, of course. I'm so glad you can make it. Norm, what are your thoughts on Ulti? Seems to be outperforming Ulti since the beginning of the year. Yeah, we covered that in our last video, Norman. I was going to do a video on how to protect Ulti, a better way to protect it, because that was going to be the follow-up on a better way to play Ulti. A better way to play Ulti. We did that with Ulti, Norman. You can see my past video, okay? Go to my live section. You can see my past videos. And then we're going to do a part 2 on how to protect Ulti, which we're still going to do. I just wanted to cover metals first because metals have been so strong lately. Okay, you have 4,300 ounces of physical silver. That's pretty crazy, SL. I think that's a lot, okay, 4,300 ounces. Hey, but props to you, silver, okay? And if the world does end, all right, you'll be, ahead of the curve there. Garage, if Robinhood had a bank account like E-Trade, the Drip at Nav, you'd go back to Robinhood. But E-Trade does have better analytics. Thank you for that info, Garage. I agree. Yeah, and RH has better margin rates. Exactly. If you don't negotiate. Major, hey, Todd, we'll listen to the replay. Did you add KYLD this weekend? No, I didn't add to it. We just have that, but I did not add to it, Major. All right. Good to see you, Major. Hope all is well. Justin, gonna ask Robinhood. I'm sure this was a change. It would have been all over Reddit and places. Yep, the drip at nav. I know. Yeah, let me know what they say, Justin. Thank you, Davion. I will, brother. Great to see you, Davion. Talking to RH agent now. Thank you, Justin. Justin's always on top of things. I always appreciate Justin and all my members. RH is saying no drip at nav, only market drip. Thank you for clearing that up, Justin. Wow, what a great live, because I know we've had some great ideas exchanged, and we're getting this other kind of crucial information that you really can't find anywhere else in the world. All right, and that's why I started my channel. All right, no one else was talking about this stuff. And now we can all, improve and make everyone better. Okay, we're all learning from each other. Top 10 holdings: BOK, Lilly, Costco, GS, Ulta, Meta, G. Yeah, I mean, I have those holdings too, Grateful Trader, but I keep them small, right? Because if I were to have those holdings, which, like Costco has been up well for us this year. Like it's been doing great, all right? And I've been trimming my Costco. And Goldman Sachs has been doing great. But just having all those stocks, like it eventually, even with my portfolio, it's very tough to manage. And, my members see how I'm managing it. In fact, I'll be trimming a bunch of names on Monday, speaking of which, to raise about $25,000 because they've had such great gains. I mean, we're up huge in these stocks, Grateful Trader. But to have all stocks like that, it would be difficult because then we don't get the income. And without the margin, if you're using that with margin, to me, that's too risky. But if you have dividends, then it's not so risky to use the margin because the dividends guarantee margin reduction. And that's how we grow, is through margin and safe indexes. And again, less time management with all the stocks. I know I overwhelm my members personally with all the stock picks that I have. But I mean, I do think that that's the way to grow, Grateful Trader. You know what I mean? But I think the best way to get, even to beat that performance would be with the triple C's. And that's what we talk about in volume 7, especially over time. And that's especially where you can compound in a quick amount of time, getting your money behind 1 or 2 names, or 5 to 10 names versus, a little bit of money and a bunch of names, which don't compound the same, but they do give you great percentage returns. Percentage returns, but without the element of compounding, you miss out on real wealth, okay? Compounding or margin, but let me know what you think. Breadman, once again, we're gonna wind down the video. So it was great seeing you, Breadman. Great seeing everyone. Hey, Holt, man, glad you can make it. All right, I saw those picks. Great results that you're getting, man. I hope that new fertilizer you're using, is gonna do the trick. All right. Always great talking to you, Holt. Great to see you. And great information, Justin. Justin, agent knew what I was talking about with the special drip, but confirmed that they only. Yeah, that's another great point, Justin, is that sometimes the agents don't know about the special drip, and you need to ask again. I was gonna remind others that, but you were on top of that. Thank you for that, Justin. All right, so I think this has again been extremely productive. All right, I can only imagine, if Robinhood got that special drip, like how many new accounts they would add. Okay. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. There's been a wealth of information here. All right. We're trying to get this outperformance. We're trying to continue the outperformance. We're up 3.5% for the year. The S&P is only up 1%. So we're up 3 times the S&P, but without having all the holdings, which I commend you though, for that last commenter who has all the holdings. But we're getting these dividends qualifying to the banks for loans, okay? And that's how I really level up fast. I get chunks of big money put in there from loans. I can use my margin, and now the dividends pay back the margin, okay? And if you need help doing any of this, email me for my e-guides or head to my website, okay? So it's all linked in my description. All right, so I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please click like or subscribe if you want more recommended to you. Yeah, Jake, like the channel, okay, everyone? Like the channel, like and subscribe if you want. If you don't, that's fine. All right, and I'll see you on the next one, okay? Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.